Did anyone ever warn you that life after 80 might feel like a curveball? Even the strongest, most independent people often find themselves caught off guard. In today's video, we're diving deep into 5 harsh and unexpected realities that almost no one escapes after turning 80. But these aren't just the obvious physical changes you hear about at the doctor's office. These are deeper, quieter shifts, changes in how people treat you, how you view time, and even how your own memories start whispering truths you hadn't noticed before. Some of these might be things you've already felt in your bones, but couldn't quite put into words. Others might catch you by surprise. But they all share one thing in common. They reshape the way we experience aging. Stay with us until the end. While these changes can sound harsh at first, understanding them can actually lead you to greater peace, deeper purpose, and renewed strength. There's something incredibly empowering about putting a name to what you're going through and realizing that you are far from alone. Now, let's begin. Reality number 1. The shrinking world of social connection. One of the first quiet changes that often settles in after 80 is the noticeable shrinking of your social world. You might still get a few phone calls, and you might still see an occasional visitor. But there's no denying it. The frequency has changed, and even more important, the feeling has changed. What once felt like the natural rhythm of friendship and connection now can feel scattered, even fragile. Friends move away. Some grow ill. Others pass on. Family members get busier with their own lives, and without even realizing it, you start spending more hours in silence than in conversation. This isn't about bitterness. It's about honesty. No one tells you how hard it can be to keep those connections alive after 80. You notice the drop in invitations, the longer gaps between visits, and even if you've always been someone who enjoys your own company, the absence of connection starts to speak louder than you expected. You may find yourself reminiscing more, not just out of nostalgia, but as a way of keeping the people you love present in your life, even if only in memory. The laughter you once shared, the little routines you once took for granted, these start to feel like treasures. And here's the truth. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. It's not a sign of weakness or even traditional loneliness. It's simply a quiet adjustment that almost everyone faces, though few talk about it openly. That's why staying emotionally connected, even to just 1 or 2 real people, becomes more important than ever. Because when the crowd fades, the depth of just a few true connections matters more than ever before. Reality number 2. How small health problems become big ones. Another reality that often catches people off guard in their 80s is this. Even minor health issues no longer stay minor. A small cold can linger for weeks. A bruise that used to disappear in days now takes months to heal. A tiny stumble that once would have been forgotten by lunchtime can now lead to weeks of bed rest, physical therapy, or even surgery. It's not just about slowing down. It's about your body's recovery system becoming less reliable and more unpredictable. The margin for error shrinks dramatically. Simple things, like forgetting to drink enough water or missing one meal, can throw your whole system out of balance. You might still feel strong, and you are, but your body's resilience no longer hums quietly in the background the way it used to. Now, it demands your active care, your gentleness, and your full attention. And this isn't something people usually talk about. Even well-meaning friends, family members, or doctors may brush it off as just part of getting older. But you know the truth. You feel the weight of every recovery. You see how your energy doesn't bounce back like it once did. And it's not just a physical challenge. Mentally, it can be deeply frustrating, especially if you've always prided yourself on being strong. active, and independent. It can feel like a betrayal. But here's the important truth. Awareness is power. When you start noticing these changes, you can respond wisely. You can slow down without giving up. You can listen to your body's needs for more water, more rest, more kindness toward yourself. This stage of life isn't about proving how tough you are. It's about protecting the strength you still have by not taking it for granted. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is to simply let yourself heal fully, without guilt or apology. If you're finding this video valuable so far, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful content to inform, support, and inspire you. Reality number 3. The quiet loss of visibility in social spaces. One of the more painful and unexpected changes that often comes after 80 is this. You begin to feel invisible. It's not that people are being cruel. It's a quiet shift in how our fast-moving, youth-centered culture works. You walk into a room, and the energy doesn't shift the way it used to. You join a conversation, but sometimes people talk over you, not out of rudeness, but because they assume you're finished speaking. You might find yourself repeating things, waiting longer to be acknowledged, or simply feeling unseen, even in gatherings of people who love you. And this experience is about more than just being ignored. It's about the subtle erosion of presence, the sense that the world sees your age before it sees you, your stories, your wisdom, your hard-earned life experience. Sometimes it feels as though all of it is overlooked or discounted. And yet, you know better. You have lived, you have loved, you have lost, you have learned things that only life itself could teach. But there are moments, painful ones, when your presence feels muted, when your voice doesn't carry the same weight it once did. Did anyone warn you that life after 80 could feel like a curveball? Even the strongest, most independent people find themselves caught off guard. In this video, we're diving into 5 harsh and unexpected realities that no one escapes after turning 80. These aren't the obvious physical changes or numbers on your medical chart. They're deeper shifts, quiet changes in the way people treat you, how you see time, and how your own memories start whispering truths you hadn't noticed before. Some of these might be feelings you've already sensed, but couldn't quite put into words. Others may surprise you, but they all share one thing. They shape the way we experience aging. Stay with us until the end. Because while these changes may sound harsh, understanding them can lead you to peace, purpose, and renewed strength. There's something incredibly empowering about naming what you're going through and realizing you're not alone. Now, let's begin. 1. The shrinking world of social connection. One of the first realities that quietly settles in after 80 is the shrinking of your social world. You might still get phone calls, still see occasional visitors, but there's no denying that the frequency has changed. More importantly, the feeling has changed. What once felt like a natural rhythm of friendship now feels scattered, even fragile. Friends move away, grow ill, or pass on. Family gets busier with their own lives. Without even realizing it, you begin spending more hours in silence than in conversation. This isn't about bitterness. It's about honesty. After 80, many people don't talk about how hard it is to keep connections alive. You notice the drop in invitations, the widening gap between visits. Even if you've always been independent, the absence starts to speak louder than you expected. You may find yourself reminiscing more, not just out of nostalgia, but as a way to keep those you care about close in spirit. even if only in memory. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling this way. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a quiet adjustment that almost everyone faces. And it's why staying emotionally connected to your story, to yourself, to even one or two people becomes more important than ever. Because when the crowd fades, the depth of even a few real connections means more than ever before. 2. How small health problems become big ones. Something else that catches people off guard in their 80s. Minor health problems no longer stay minor. A small cold lingers longer than it used to. A bruise takes weeks to heal. A little stumble you once forgot by lunchtime can now lead to weeks of bed rest, physical therapy, or even surgery. It's not just that the body slows down. It's that the body's ability to recover becomes unpredictable. The margin for error gets smaller. Something as simple as forgetting to drink enough water or missing one meal can throw your whole system off. You may still feel strong, and in many ways, you are. But resilience no longer operates automatically behind the scenes. You have to pay attention. Friends, family, even doctors might downplay it, chalking it up to getting older. But you know the difference. You feel how each recovery weighs heavier than it used to. And if you've always prided yourself on being tough, active, independent, this shift can feel like a betrayal. But here's the truth. Awareness is power. When you notice how your body responds, you can adjust. You can slow down without giving up. You can tune in to what you need. More rest, more hydration, more forgiveness for yourself. This stage of life isn't about proving anything. It's about protecting the strength you still have by not taking it for granted. And sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is simply let yourself heal fully. If you're still with us and finding this video valuable, comment number 2 below. 3. The quiet loss of visibility in social spaces. One of the most unsettling changes after 80 is how easily you become overlooked. Not out of cruelty, but out of a cultural shift no one talks about. You walk into a room, and the energy doesn't shift the way it used to. You speak, and sometimes people talk over you, not because they mean to, but because they assume you're done. It's a subtle erosion of presence. In a world that moves faster and centers youth more than ever before, it can feel like the world sees your age before it sees you. Like your stories, thoughts, and wisdom are somehow discounted even when they hold more truth than ever. This reality can spark sadness, frustration, even a quiet kind of grief. But there's a strength in seeing it for what it is, not a reflection of your worth, but of a culture that forgets to listen. You are not invisible. Your voice still carries weight. Those who take the time to truly see you, to sit with your stories, your humor, your memories, they are listening, even if it takes a bit longer for them to lean in. So don't retreat. Don't let silence define you. Be the quiet force that reminds people what dignity, depth, and endurance truly look like. You may not always be the loudest in the room, but you're often the wisest, and that carries more power than most realize. 4. The narrowing of your daily life. One of the hardest parts of life after 80 isn't what happens inside your body. It's what quietly disappears around you. Your world, once busy with familiar places and faces, starts to feel smaller, not all at once, but piece by piece. You might find yourself going out less, not because you don't want to, but because things feel farther, harder, more tiring. Friends move away, favorite restaurants close, neighborhoods change. Your world doesn't collapse, it contracts. At first, the loneliness feels like background noise, a little extra quiet here and there. But over time, it gets heavier, even for the most independent souls. It's not weakness, It's grief, the natural sadness of watching chapters close. But even as the old world shrinks, a new one can still expand. That expansion might not come from travel or big events. It might come from the depth of a new conversation, from a friendship with someone younger, from sharing your story in ways you never have before. The world doesn't have to be wide to be meaningful. It just has to be alive. So call that friend. Join that book club, even if it's online. Take that short walk, even if it's just around the block. Your world may look different, but it's not over. It's evolving. And there's still plenty of space for joy, laughter, and connection. If you're still with us and finding this video valuable, comment number 4 below. 5. The unpredictability of your own body. After 80, your body can start sending mixed messages, and often at the worst times. One day you wake up feeling clear-headed, steady, strong. The next day you're slower, foggier, unsteady on your feet, unsure why. What makes this so frustrating isn't just the inconvenience, it's the betrayal. You've lived in this body your whole life. You trusted it. Now it keeps changing the rules without warning. You might plan a walk and feel a wave of fatigue. You might bend to tie your shoes and realize it's harder to stand. Or feel sudden dizziness or stiffness that vanishes just as quickly. But here's the part no one talks about. This unpredictability doesn't just chip away at your mobility. It chips away at your confidence. You start second-guessing yourself, not because you can't, but because you're unsure of what your body might do. And that hesitation is completely understandable. But if there's one truth that can help, it's this. Your body might not be consistent anymore, but you can be. Flexibility becomes your new strength. Adaptability becomes your shield. You prepare. You pace yourself. You give yourself grace without giving up. You rest. You stretch. You talk to your doctor. Not just when something's wrong, but to stay a step ahead. Knowledge, even in the face of uncertainty, gives you power. So, no, your body might not be as dependable as it once was, but you, with all your experience, awareness, and resilience, are still very much in charge. Final thoughts. We've just walked through 5 harsh realities that often emerge after 80, each capable of quietly shifting how we experience the world. But acknowledging these shifts isn't giving into decline. It's stepping into life with your eyes wide open, living more fully, more wisely, and more freely. What stood out to you the most? Which of these realities have you noticed in your own life or in someone close to you? We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one insight you're taking away and how you plan to respond to it. Your story might be the one that encourages someone else, because aging isn't losing value, it's gaining depth. And by facing these truths together, we strengthen not just ourselves, but each other. Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. We look forward to seeing you in the next video.